Okay, just want to make sure we're on the right time. I'd like to call to order the City of Indio Public Arts Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. And could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Present.
Commissioner Becerra,
Present.
Commissioner Cruz Zendejas,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Niemeyer,
Present.
and Chairperson Shinsky.
Yes, here. Thank you. Commissioner Cruz Zendejas, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, public comment for items not on the agenda.
There were none.
Thank you. Item 4, presentation by local artists and or arts organizations.
We don't have anything tonight.
Thank you. Item 5, action items.
Good evening, Mr. Chairperson and members of the Public Arts Commission. I'm Leila Nombar, Senior Planner with the Community Services. We'll give you a presentation on all the agenda items tonight. So item 5.1 is your summer schedule, which let me see, there we go. So other commissions, sometimes they choose a summer schedule and they go dark on one of their meetings or two. So it's all up to the commission if you would like to go dark on any of those days, July 12th, which is the next commission, and then August 9th. We couldn't include September 13th because we have a scheduled for our colossal cacti RFP to meet and do some selection at that time. So these are the 2 dates, and it's all up to the commission if you choose to go dark on any of them or none of them. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Anyone have any comments or suggestions as far as going dark this summer for a month?
Historically, we go dark in August, but that's only if we want that. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's nothing planned on the agenda, I'm not opposed to going dark.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with going through the entire summer. So may I have a motion that we do not have a dark month this year? That we meet through the summer continually?
I'll motion to approve that we don't go dark then.
Okay.
Second?
I second that motion to not go dark.
Chairperson Shinsky, they could motion to either go dark or not go dark. So you could do either or.
Would you like to amend your motion text?
I mean, if there isn't a reason to meet, do we have anything set for the next?
So you have a motion and a second. I believe you need to go through that. But for the sake of conversation, I mean, we have a work plan which has 10 items on it, so we don't have shortage of agenda items for you. But it's just some commissioners may be traveling, or it's too hot, you don't want to be here during August or July. So that's just an option for the commission to choose either way.
Okay, so the motion really needs to say that, quote, for discussion purposes, I move that we do not go dark during the summer, or I move that we do go dark during the summer.
All right. Now I'm thinking if we just go dark, maybe 1 month, is that up for discussion?
Well, it will be once the motion's made and we can discuss it prior to discussion. Okay. I mean, personally, I think we should not go dark because we do have the work plan to follow. And since we only meet once a month anyway, it's got to get as much done as possible according to our work plan for the next year.
All right. Then, yeah, I'll continue with my motion then.
And the motion is
To not go dark.
not go
during the
dark.
summer.
And we had a second
I second the motion to not go dark.
and roll call.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Becerra.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cruz and Dejas,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Niemeyer,
Yes.
and Chairperson Shinsky.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, item 5.2, mural number 13 project.
So this item is mural number 13 project. Per the commission's recommendation last time, so we are numbering those murals as we will go forward. So we select an artist, and if the artist has a name for the mural, we can apply that. So the project includes painting the columns and the wing walls on the bridge, also the siding, which kind of gets close to the street, not the siding on the top. And then you have the RFP, a draft RFP was attached to the staff report for your review and approval. There are highlighted yellow areas that it will be filled in, which is the dimension and the measurement of the columns and the areas, which will be filled in. I'm working with the city engineer to get that information plugged in. There was a question for the commission, which was what kind of year or longevity we would like to put on this mural. It is under a bridge, so it's probably the exhaust, smoke and things like that will be affecting that more than another mural. So if you would like to have the longevity 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, or longer or shorter, it's the question of a staff for you to see what longevity you would like to put on that mural. And again, this will go out July 1st, which is the first day of our work plan along with the other mural. And so far I have 14 muralists, which is within the valley and outside the valley, that I'm going to send directly to them. And also it will be posted on the website, social media, and I will send the final to you as well. So if you know anybody, you can forward it. Our recommendation is to approve the RFP, if that's acceptable by you in this format, and also to appoint an ad hoc committee to select the 3 finalists to go before the commission for final selection. The budget for the project was approved as part of the as part of the work plan by the commission and the council for $45,000. And that concludes my staff report. I'll be happy to answer should you have any questions. Thank you.
Questions or comments?
I have a few. Just going through the draft RFP, would the surface prep of the actual concrete columns, is that going to be covered by the artist in this number, or is the city going to prep these?
Everything is going to be covered by the artist.
Okay.
If the artist comes back and say the prep is that much money, then we need to go back before the commission and the council for additional funding.
Okay. I know that there was a sample description from the artist as far as their prep or maintenance. It talked about gessoing. So I just want to make sure that it's clear in the RFP that the artist has to prepare the concrete for mural.
I believe if you go on the budget, it says preparation. If it's not there, I will add it.
Okay. And then my other was just to comment, when we did the mural at King Street and Miles, which is over on the Quick and Easy.
The rebirth.
Pardon me?
Rebirth.
Yes, the mural by Nicole Ponsler. We included a short description of the building, where that was as far as the history and context in the city. The bridge is actually part of a pretty important area in town that I think you might be able to include some of that information.
Will do.
Okay. I can write up a little thing with a few notes too.
Sure, that would be great. If the entire commission agrees, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, great
Oh, that's
suggestions.
great.
Excellent suggestions. As far as longevity, considering where it is and with all the traffic around it, I think a 10-year lifespan would be appropriate, because after 10 years, it's going to need attention.
Sure, yeah, I will change that and revise per Commissioner Newmeyer's suggestions.
Well, this is a two-part item. So can I have a motion to approve the RFP with suggested changes?
I motion to approve the RFP with suggested changes.
May I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Becerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz Zendejas,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Niemeyer,
Yes.
and Chairperson Shinsky.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now, the icing on the cake part. Do I have any volunteers to be on this ad hoc committee for selection of artists? I need 2 people.
I'd like to volunteer.
EJ Newmeyer has volunteered,
I'll volunteer.
and Vanessa Becerra has volunteered.
And can we get a list of our ad hocs that we're signed up for?
Sure.
Sent to us?
Yeah, I will send it to you.
Okay, thank
I will work on it and send it to you by next week
you.
to all the commission.
Thanks.
So our ad hoc committee will consist of EJ Newmeyer and Vanessa Becerra, and we need to agree upon this. May I have a motion to agree upon the ad hoc committee? Or I'll make the motion that we accept the volunteering of EJ Newmeyer and Vanessa Becerra as the ad hoc committee members for the Mural number 13 project.
I second that motion.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Becerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz Zendejas,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Niemeyer,
Yes.
and Chairperson Shinsky.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 5.3, the Raices RCOE mural project.
So the Raices RCO Mural project, both Raices and the county would like to postpone the project to fall because the students are out of school now and it is hot. So the paint and then painting may not be as fun to paint in this heat. So that's why it's before you. I also have the mural that they painted. That's a picture of the mural that the students painted in Coachella. It's not completely done, but they did a good job. So it shows that they have the capability, but probably the scheduling was a little bit off. So it's before you for your consideration. The staff is okay if it gets postponed to fall, but again, it's up to the commission if you guys would like to continue to postpone it to the fall, and if you would like to ask any other logistic things from a fall from Raices or the county. So it's up to you. Thank you.
Comments, suggestions?
I'm not at odds with postponing it.
I'm not opposed to postponing either.
And also give them time to finish their design.
Well, I have been disappointed in this project from the beginning. Raices has ignored this commission. We've never have seen imagery for this project. No one from Raices has been here to propose the project. I understand that the ad hoc committee for this project volunteered to go and meet with Raices and help them out in any way they can, and that Raices basically refused to meet with them. Total lack of professionalism on Raices' part, and they knew this project was coming up. This is not a brand new project. It's been in the works for months. And the excuses they've given us for why they couldn't come up with at least sketches for this project, I think are negligible. And I don't think that Raices is the right organization to be heading up this project by their past behavior and lack of obvious commitment to the project. There was always something more important to do than this project. They wanted the money, but they didn't want to cooperate. And the last time they came to us at the last meeting, they asked for additional funds for the type of paint that would be proper paint to use on a basketball court on the outside. Well, that's the kind of information that should have been known from the beginning of the project. I mean, so obviously they didn't do their research. So I don't think this project is viable any longer.
I mean, I just like to also share that I think that the youth are still very much excited to do this project. I think it's not, I don't think we should hold the youth who want to participate accountable for maybe how the organizing has been done between the different partners. I'm not sure what's been happening, but this is something for the youth and I do want to support that. So I do want to go ahead and.
I will agree with you on the kids should not be penalized for the lack of commitment and professionalism of the organization. Isn't there another organization in this vicinity that can take this type of project over and make it come to fruition? Because these kids obviously can do a decent job, but I don't think Raices is the right organization to be doing it. I mean, I'd be more than happy to have the Coachella Valley Arts Center take the project over.
But it's the Raices and the Riverside County of Education who are facilitating it with the youth.
But then they both haven't done their job.
Well, maybe that's a conversation that we could.
But they're asking to continue the project when they haven't attempted to even make the project happen.
Mr. Chairperson, may I?
Sure.
What if we just put like a timeline? Let's say fall, October, we need to see the design so I can report that back to them, and then start the work in November and finish it in 2 weeks, something like that. So if that timeline won't happen, then we can just scratch out the project.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate it. I think if anything could happen to save this project, that Raices and the county make a formal presentation to this commission in September with the proper information for this project. Not to do it via you or via city council person or via somebody else. They've done all this in absentia. I mean, how many other people who do proposals to this commission are we going to allow to never show up and present on their behalf, on their own behalf? Would we stand for that from somebody else? I don't think so. But if Raices and the county can get their act together and come up with an actual hard proposal by September and present it to this commission, and it's a good, solid proposal, fine. But up until now, they have really not done themselves any service at all. And they have done a great disservice to these kids for them to see how this process has been handled on their behalf. That's not what, high schoolers should be seeing. That, we're not going to go, let somebody else do it for us because we're going to, I'm sure part of the attitude was we're going to get the money because it's a kid project. I mean, that's how things work. Anything with kids always gets funded.
Well, Bill, I don't know that that's entirely the case. And I do agree that they need to make a presentation. They need to have a representative come actually pitch to us. It's nice to see what idea that they've got so that we can ultimately approve that idea. I know the county is involved with it. The county is footing most of this bill. I think what the difference is the paint that they've asked the commission for. I think it's appropriate to give the money for that. And like you said, I do agree that they need to make a pitch. They need to have a design. It would be nice to see them have a design in September for approval in October. And
Sure.
I think the cool weather works better for this anyway.
Exactly.
And hold them to it. Make sure that they get this done this time. Because
I thought maybe October for the design because the kids are out of school. So by the time they get to school to, get used to the norm and stuff. So that's what I thought maybe October. But again, it's completely to the commission's desire. I agree with the title, with a clear schedule, presentation, and everything that Mr. Chairperson and Vice Chair said.
If the kids aren't in school in time for them as a team to come up with the design, if they're not in school until mid-September, then obviously they can't do it. So October would make sense. But depending upon when school's back in session, how often they meet as a team with Raices, they just need to get it done.
Understood, sir.
Can we move to postpone it with the notes on them having representation and also with the timeline? They can present us with a timeline.
That's the motion I'm looking for.
And then they present to the commission October or September.
Depending upon school schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they should submit it in time for the October meeting. So it should be in by September so that we have about a week's time to look at it before.
Sure.
I would ask for them to submit by the end of September.
Okay.
So Vanessa, would you like to make that motion?
Sure. I'll motion to approve Raices' mural project postponement with the request for them to represent with the presentation and a schedule for completion. Does that work?
I'll second.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Becerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz Zendejas,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Niemeyer,
Yes.
Chairperson Chinsky.
With fingers crossed, yes.
Motion carried.
I did have one follow-up question. Part of the pitch was this migrant kids?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure they're even here during the summer and they're not going off with families in another part of the state.
So that's what the October was
Okay.
my.
Okay.
But I understand what Ms. Chairperson and you and the commission said, so I make sure that I have that message relayed to them, and then to make sure we're ready for October.
Okay.
If there's any change, I will report to the commission.
Well, even if some of the kids change, the team members change, it's still the basic project that we're talking about.
Exactly, it should be.
All right. Item 6, project updates. 6.1 Teen Center traffic signal box.
So as you remember, we extended the RFP to June 3rd, end of the school year. And then we received additional images that I have sample of them here. I believe we can, the ad hoc committee and the staff can meet via Zoom and then go over the images and either select or not select. But we have a handful of images that we can meet with the ad hoc committee to go over them.
Okay. 6.2, the Coachella Valley History Museum Water Tower update.
So the update that we received from Paintscaping is that, which is the original installer, that they need to replace all the lamps, $500 per lamp. They need to come back 1 or 2 days to test the audio, fixing the camera, and do the remote uploads. Labor and travel, everything will be $3,500. For new shows, it will be something very simple, will be $15,000. Something more jazzy and, more detailed and more work done to it, it could be up to $40,000. There's a range, so $15,000 to $40,000. And they will be here in October, which will be cooler. And at that time that they're going to charge us $3,500 plus $1,500, so it's $5,000. They're going to have a preview of a show for us. We can see it basically, but we don't own it. That's from them. We got another company that they're saying about $12,000 to service the system, cabling equipment and things like that, which we may not need to do that now because Paintscaping was here for a day. Then the content development and programming could be $9,300, which it could go higher based on what we want to see as a show. And then for them to come here 1 or 2 days, it's going to cost us about $3,800. So it's not a cheap project. So I would like to know if the commission would like to spend that money with either of them, or you would like right now maybe to appoint not now, but maybe later on, appoint an ad hoc committee to work with the museum, because now we need to bring museum in to see what their expectations are. So that's why I'm here to provide the update with you and get direction from you. The other thought that I had was to contact students that they are in animation or film production programs to see if they are interested to give us shows, and we give them a stipend and kind of, maybe do a competition, or it gets juried. So we make an event out of it as well, and we give them a stipend. That was another thought that I had. Contacted some universities, UCLA, College of the Desert. They responded back. So I'm working with them to see if they're even interested. So that's a second option. But I'm not sure after all the money that we spend, are we getting a good return for this project? So that's why maybe some food for thought for you, and then provide direction to staff for the next step.
I have a few questions and some comments. So the mobilization cost to come out and even look at the system is $3,500 to $3,800, depending on these two outside consultants. The second estimate you have here has about a $12,000 servicing, which may or may not be necessary because Paintscaping may have done some of that work on the
Correct.
recent visit. Okay. And so left is an item that's either per one, the second consultant, $9,350, or per Paintscaping's anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 for a show. And that's for them to create content for the city.
Correct, but it's not them. The staff, arts commission, or the museum can tell them what they want. Choose the music, give them images, or give them a synopsis that this needs to be a show. So that's still we can work with. It's not like he's gonna come and say this is a show. We have a say on it, but the price. And this one, when it says 9,300, still it says based on further, discussion, this could go higher as well.
Right. And is this an arts design company, or is this just a projection company? Who is this?
This is one of the companies that they do a lot of imaging on for the festivals, football stadiums and things like that. So they're a well-known company out of
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, exactly.
Okay.
Lumen and Forge.
And do they have artists on staff that do this, or do they take content from other creators?
I don't
and
know. We
adapt it?
haven't found that out.
Okay. My 2 cents is to have Paintscaping apply to do anything just as any other artist would. I'm not inclined to give them another show or to throw $40,000 at something to be a show. I think it would have to be a pitch just the same as any artist or designer who wants to do this. I'm more interested in, can we get an artist group, students, whatever, get their work adapted to the cylinder. And that was what was supposed to have happened all along, all these years ago. And I want to know what that cost is associated with taking someone else's content and applying it to this tank.
And I agree. I mean, my understanding, like EJ's, was that we would end up with a template, a technical template, where then imagery, sound, whatever could be applied to that template. That way we could invite our other artists to do projects for the water tower without having to go through, recreating the wheel for every project.
Right. And the discussion with Philippe when he was last here, and I know that he gets this, and he said, one of our IT staff could be, that in between. And I don't necessarily have a problem with going to an outside consultant, either back to Paintscaping or to whoever, to actually take someone's content and fit it into this template, this projection map. That is not an easy step. There's money involved, cost, time, equipment, hardware, all that sort of thing. I would rather this was opened up to outside artists, digital creators, filmmakers, still artists, or whoever, to actually implement, put into a show. And I had wanted to see if we could do something where we could have a big call to artists and have people actually submit based on this information. And it would be nice to have a cost from either of these companies to what it would take to adapt X amount of show or whatever. But as opposed to just saying, hey, produce another, 5-minute content or whatever for $40,000. I don't know that that's necessarily the way to go.
I agree with you. And then the IT, just want to explain that our IT may be able to do it, but the thing is they're so busy. We can't get them from the time that they're at work here to create that, because that's time consuming. It takes a while. And the other thing is that we may be able to get them to do things after work, but still we need to pay.
I don't expect our IT department to run the show. That's why I wanted to hear from other outside people who can administer this. for a fee. There's not a problem with that. Not necessarily have to run to paintscaping each time, but if their bid is competitive and they're able to do the work, then they have every right to apply for it.
So this company was supposed to do that, but because our system was not up and running at the time, so they have to come here and then fix it. Now it's working, but it may be the cameras may not be aligned. So it needs alignment, and we just need the content, which, as you said, now we can go out and just ask for content and see how much it costs, not running the system.
Okay. So
that part is completed now.
So maybe I'm wrong here. It sounds like it would be nice to have this opinion from the second company that this equipment is up and running, to see that just about anybody with this, expertise can actually adapt that show. And if that's the case, then we can work towards putting on a program where we do have a call for artists and we can have regular run when it's not summer.
Sure.
Okay.
And my thought to go to a student was to save some money, because our money, it's limited. Every year we get about $100,000. So to save that money, because when you go out to the artist, it could cost the same amount that they are saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the thought, to save money.
Chairperson, I do have a question. Do we have a library of content now for the tower that we have access to once it is up and running?
There are two shows. One is 3 minutes. The other one is 5 minutes. And we can, it is in a program. So I don't think you can see it on your computer because it's in Maya program. But we have those two. One has audio, the other one doesn't. And one is showing a little bit of the history of the Coachella Valley. The other one is just images from paintings of famous painters.
One of them, I think, is local artists, and then the other one is the produced piece with water and the trains here to the valley. Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, and sorry about that. And Commissioner Gutierrez, it's running every night. One of the shows from 9, I shouldn't say 9, half an hour after the sunset till 10:05. So if you are in the area, you may want to go there and you can see it. The 5-minute one is running every night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
you mentioned the History Museum getting involved in content. Are they going to be paying for their programs?
And the same thing, the money and the content. So because I think we are ready to get them involved at this point to see what they are thinking. Because when I reviewed the previous record, when we were getting them, there is a fact sheet that says every year about $10,000 for new images and maintenance. And it doesn't say who is paying it, but we don't know who's going to pay. To me, it's not clear who's going to pay. So the assumptions needs to be clarified to be,
Well, we can clear this up right now. It's the city owns the water tower. The city owns the equipment. It's the city's program to run and administer. When we met with the museum, that was clear when we discussed with them that if they had desired content, it would be the same as any other thing, that they would also work with us and apply, and we could go out for submissions and that sort, because it's an appropriate thing. What we were making sure is that this wouldn't become a billboard, an advertisement for the museum. Love to support the museum, but the amount of program money that went into it from the city, this is a city administered program.
so administer, I understand. So that means the city, which means Art Fund, will pay that every $10,000. Okay, so if that's the case, then that's the amount for each show.
I think it's appropriate for them if they want to. We discussed, still images of the valley from the archives. Those are all incredibly appropriate things to show. I think the city government should definitely support that and fund that. That's not an issue for us to decide and to go to council and to approve that sort of thing. But the clear boundary was that the city is going to administer this and that the museum has the site, because I believe the city owns all the buildings too.
Mm-hmm.
The city owns the buildings, exactly, but they are running the museum basically.
Okay. Thank you. Item 6.3, mural conservation assessment update.
So 2 Saturdays ago, the anti-graffiti team of the city went and power washed half of the wall. As you see, the right picture is the one that is is power washed and scraped, and the left is before. That's after, and this is before. However, our person who was doing it is now with COVID, so we stopped the project for another 2 weeks, and then we resume it when the person is back and feel good to do that. So, but half of it is done.
Yeah, I saw them. When I come in on Saturday mornings, and they were out there working hard. Thank you. Item 6.4, public arts strategic plan.
So I know the commission really would like to get this approved by the council, and that's the staff also intention. However, when the draft was reviewed, it was asked that this is the strategic plan is not specific enough. So there is some vagueness to it. And then again, I review it and I see the vagueness, and there are areas that even we cannot apply with the current code. For example, cultural events cannot be done with the current code. Creating artist space or advocating for artist space with the art fund, it can't happen. Lectures, if we're going to use the art fund, we cannot do that. So that's why staff thought that we shouldn't take it to the council, because the council will have those questions as well. So that's just my suggestion, to have a short, not a long, short workshop during our commission meeting day, and then just go over it. It's maybe 10 or 9 pages. Go over it to see which areas we can make it more defined and which areas we need to delete. And then I can also send the entire commission my notes with that plan, and highlight the areas that we cannot apply at this time. So you guys can see that, and then have that, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. It's not going to be long. And then it's also going to be agendized, and maybe we have some public input regarding it that could lead to a more defined strategic plan. So that's why staff is asking if the commission would like to do such a thing, and if you have any specific dates, so you become familiar with the entire document again, and or you have other suggestions. Thank you.
I do have some comments on that. Just because the plan was made vaguely, because strategic plans are specifically supposed to be vague. That's why we had the work plan joining it to spell out those specifics. And I remember presenting this strategic plan to the council, and they had no questions as far as those vague descriptions. They just asked for the work plan to accompany it for specifics that address that vagueness, right? And addressing the code issue as well. From my understanding, that was put in there because that's what we are working towards for the 2 years. Because just because it's not written in code doesn't mean it can't be then changed, right? Because these are the discussions I feel like I've had already with staff.
So the thing is, if it's not in the code, the council cannot approve it. So if we take that there, we can't take it with the things that code doesn't allow, because code is first, then this policy document. So, and I think the commission needs to do art and culture. So in order to take something like that, we can take off those things that it can't happen and take it to the council. But we cannot take it vague. But there are areas, for example, it says we are accountable for, and then we is this Arts Commission, why you're accountable for, what happened you're accountable, and if you're accountable, what needs to be done, what not. Or there are areas that says, again, refers to we, who is we. So they're vagueness, or there are things that could be a little bit tightened, but just saying yearly, bi-yearly, or for example, by saying use public arts fund or not use public art fund, but do this with collaboration with such and such. So kind of like give direction, because in this, it doesn't even give staff direction to create a work plan. What we created work plan based on was the real obvious, artist advocacy. Yes. We have 10 projects that going to, utilize artists. So that's artist advocacy. But there are things that kind of like vague and not clear. And again, there are things that can't happen, like cultural event, concert, speech or workshops, things like that. We can't do it with art fund. So it needs to be basically in my, let's say, weekend, and you guys all come and we have, an event, but it's not a public art event. It's a, grassroots event of some people that would like art. So that's, I think we should take a look at it. We should take a look at it as something that if we need to change the code, that's the time to say, hey, we want to do that, and even present it to the city manager first to see if that's something that the council would like to do or not. But at this time, to me, it's somehow obvious. Or when it says use best practices for what? Is it best practices, A, B, C, D? Mm-hmm. So it's really vague. And so I'm trying to be in a way that accomplish your thoughts, but we need to be a little bit more, we need to go from top, which the top means have policies in general plan, change the code, and then come down here. From this area, we can't go backward. So I want to have more serious discussion with the commission and maybe the city manager, not me, as a group, and eventually the council. If I want to have a city, we have a city of festivals, right? So then art and culture needs to be part of everything, not just put the statues or murals, but as part of, for example, all our infrastructure projects, and then get them to buy it too, because right now we are forcing ourselves into those projects. But if it is the policy at this level, then everybody is part of it. So that's my 2 cents. But again, if the commission wants to take this, we can take it, but we can't take the items that it can't be done because of the current code.
I think one of the priorities would be to change the code.
Is that an issue that we're discussing with staff to bring to council?
I'm discussing with Mr. Trujillo And then he needs to discuss it with the city manager. And after that, if both of them on board, so then we can, but I think we should at least start talking and just show what can be done if we are a art and culture commission. What can be done, as far as the events, lectures, workshops, places for artists. We do, for example, every Sunday farmers market. Why not every Wednesday have like artist market? I don't know, but we can't have it because the code doesn't allow us. And I think that's what we want, to provide synergy when the weather is nice.
It's like Art in the Square.
Yeah.
That was a very popular event, but now we can't do it because the code will not allow us to do it. So we need to change the code.
You should change the code. And the other thing is the code comes from a policy at the top. The policy that if goes into the general plan, council approves it. And then from there, we can create a code, we can create programs, things like that. So I'm looking at it as that. But I may get support or may not. That's not the issue. But I think what we have now, it's weak and wake. No disrespect to anybody, but or don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I think everybody wants to do more with this document. We can't do more. We're just going to do the same that we are doing. I'm just going to refer to some goals and values in the work plan, but the work plan will be the same. Next year will be again traffic signal box, new murals, a new entry monument, nothing as far as bring culture and events and make the city like, live.
I mean, and we all want this program to grow and to really service the community of Indio. But until we are able to do so we've really got to start working towards changing the code. And then getting back to do the types of programs that we feel are important to the community, artist community, public community.
Yes, I'm sorry. So that's why I think we should work. We have till our next work plan. We should work on something that says these are the things that we want to do, and this is how we can do it, and put in a work plan and go to the council for them to approve it. So we have time. So that's why I wanted to have a workshop, and then get an ad hoc committee to work, and then give information to the entire commission and work and have something that it is, exciting, it wows everybody, and then we can also expand.
I mean, I think we all know that any city council wants good ideas and wants their community to grow and have wonderful things. But when we can prove to them, well, this is what we'd like to do, but we can't because the code that you adopted does not allow us to do so. So until that code is changed, here's all these great ideas we've got. Change your code so we can do them. I mean, it may be an uphill battle, and then again, you never know. It may not be, but
and it will be experience. Bring it up, right?
Right, and it's going to take time. And but I think it's worth the wait and the work.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, Layla, you've done a remarkable job on this strategic plan. I mean, you've paid attention to the details. Your notes are remarkable. They really very succinctly said why. What does this mean? Why this? Where does this come from? Your notes have been very helpful in making me reconsider much because, the last staff person, this was their baby and they wanted it done at any measure. But now that we have some time and we can think about it, because I don't think no one ever brought up the thought the last couple of years that code wouldn't allow us.
I think
I brought that up.
yeah,
at one
we've
point.
asked about that multiple times.
Because,
Yeah.
because at one point we were called the historical preservation, and it was like, hey guys, we're not allowed to actually do any of that because the ordinance doesn't allow us to spend any money towards that thing. We can't designate historic sites. We couldn't do any of that sort of stuff. So it was stripped from the name of this. And
Excuse me, I do remember that. Yeah, I apologize.
and at one point, it was several iterations ago at the IPAC, different management group at the time. The council would have liked to have seen more money go towards them to support their programs. And in looking at that and trying to determine an amount to give to them or to apply towards a program, we found we couldn't actually support the performing arts.
Right.
We couldn't put on a concert. We couldn't put on we couldn't do any of that sort of stuff. We were limited very much to kind of how the original ordinance was, I think, intended, was more decorative. Monuments and decorations, and because we had a Coachella Valley Cultural Commission that was multi-city, and it was adopted into the city of Indio with the first go around with the commission, and it was more or less, let's do some murals and maybe some sculptures, and that's kind of where the original group had looked at the first time. And we haven't been able to get much further because the ordinance really hasn't changed.
Yeah, I know. But at the time it happened, it made sense. But things,
It was
the
the
world
first
has
step.
changed.
So the world has changed, the new management, new stuff.
New management, new ideas.
Yes. And then I'm going to be like, this is my what do you call it? This is my dream, to be the art commission, and the art will be part of every aspect of the city, which means marketing, economic development, public works, parks.
Mhm.
So if you put an artist next to any of those projects, the result will be different. But this is just a dream and in the clouds. May not happen, but we can go little by little toward that, so that we have that cooperation and collaboration between different departments with the public arts. And then we don't have to use all our money for the projects because the other departments are involved. So some of those budgets also come here. But again, I'm talking out loud, my dreams. So it may not happen.
But it happens in other cities. There's no reason why it could not happen here.
Correct. It's cities like San Francisco, LA, Phoenix. You see that that happens because there's collaboration. It's just not public arts.
Again, thank you for all your work.
You're very welcome. I enjoy, and thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for all of you helping and inputs and all those. I can't do it by myself.
All right. Item 7, Commissioner comments.
So would you
excuse
like
me.
me? Sorry. So would you like me send those with my notes that chair
Please.
has it to everybody? You guys review it. Let me know which day we put a workshop. I send the dates of the commission meetings to you as well for the next, 3 months. So you can tell me which dates would you like to have, and then we make a short review and then get some directions.
Please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and can
I'll
we-
do that.
Have the city manager will be there too, right? In this workshop, will the city manager be in this workshop?
I don't know.
Can we
But-
request that him and Trujillo are there?
We can
Yeah,
ask.
Mr. Trujillo will be there. So if he's there, he can report to the city manager as well. But I'll ask.
Okay.
I'll ask, but I can't promise on behalf of him. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, Scott's a good representative for us.
Scott will fill him.
Item 7, Commissioner comments. No one doing anything? We have public comments? Of course.
So, okay, so I'll wait for,
Yes, we do have, we're going back up to item 3, public comment.
okay. We put at the very end. Would you like me to go through the staff comments so that then
Oh,
she
sure.
So the staff comment, only comment I have is, would you like for the projects, I just need direction. Would you like for the projects that may be within a neighborhood? For example, if you're doing the Shields Park for CV Link, it's close to the neighborhood. Would you like to have community outreach before the RFP, or would you like to have the RFP and create an ad hoc committee with one or two members of that neighborhood? Which way would you like to go? The first one, make the process lengthier. The second one, we still have representative, but we don't get outreach. So it's up to you.
I think having the neighborhood involved from the very beginning.
I think outreach first, and
Yeah.
if you get good buy-in, great. And if not much neighborhood, if we talk about doing it more, if they don't, then you pick a community member.
Okay, and then that requires, any outreach requires presence of the commission. So you guys are there. If there's a question, if there's anything else, we're good. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell
Sure.
us who you are with, if indeed you are with an organization.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to make a comment. I know I was a little bit late and I missed that section, but I appreciate it. My name is Lacey Williams. I'm new to the Valley, well, a Valley returnee, I guess. And I work with an organization called Healing Rhythms, and we're a 501(c), and we actually work in Centinela and Calipatria Prison, where we provide traditional West African drumming for incarcerated people who need exposure to the arts. So we go with our traditional djembes and dundun drums, and we play on level 4 yards. And there I met the mayor of Indio. So, we had while I'm exchanging my keys, we had a conversation about arts and the city of Indio and the direction that the city is going in to incorporate more culture. And he kind of asked some of the things that we've done in the past, which have been work all throughout California. We're currently a coordinating organization for the California Arts Council. We started in San Diego and had just recently a 6-week workshop with BRAF in North Palm Springs, which is Building Resilience for African American Families, where we work with at-risk youth in their Rites of Passage program. And the maestro drummer, who hails from Senegal, fell in love with the Valley. So now we've moved here. So we really like to incorporate some of the arts and culture that we provide to the city of Indio, and be able to have resources, space to do workshops, to collaborate. There's a lot of grants coming out right now to work in education with youth, with schools, with migrants, with children, with elders. And since we're new, we just wanted to kind of come and introduce ourselves and let you know how committed we are to bringing arts and how important it is to have that cultural aspect for all people. And that's what we've learned since 2016, working with the Department of Corrections, how important it is for people's humanity and how important it is for socialization, for coping, for many different emotions that we all live through and go through. And we use the West African djembe drum as a tool to bring people together. So we've worked in, almost everywhere. We worked and brought joy in so many different places. And it's something for everyone. So we just wanted to let you guys know that we're here.
Welcome. I'm thrilled to
you.
know you're here.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody. My name's Lacey. So hopefully we can build a relationship in the future.
Thank you.
If possible, I would like to get your contact information.
Sure.
Don't go away. I want to talk to you after the meeting.
Noe, did you have something to say?
No, I just said I thank her for being here. And I facilitated drum circles at Pittsburgh College back in my younger days, and I think it's therapeutically, the art form of the drums and the drums she's mentioning. Yeah, it goes a long way in healing and opening the world of art. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Drums are primal. They go right to your soul.
Right. You're right.
All right. Then we're at item 9, adjourn. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.